So in this video, we're going to see how to perform some rotations. First, this is asking us, on each graph below, plot the following points. C at -3, 1, A at -2, 2, T at 0, 1, and then perform the given rotation, and then also write a rule in rotation notation. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so we can see all the things being written at once. So first, I'm going to plot my points. So I've got -3, 1 as point C. So -3, 1, this is point C. -2, 2, this is point A. And then 0, 1, this is point T. All right, I'm now going to just draw out my triangle. And let's take a moment just to plot all those points on the rest of the graph so that we don't need to do that later. So -3, 1, C, -2, 2, A, 0, 1, T. And then finally, I'll do it on the last graph, -3, 1, -2, 2, 0, 1, C, A, and T. All right, now, what they want us to do is perform a rotation of 90 degrees about the origin. So the origin is my point 0, 0 right here. I want to rotate 90 degrees around that origin. So let's take a look at that. To help us doing the rotations today, since it's our first time, we're going to use a thing called patty paper. It's just a little piece of wax paper that you normally use to separate cheese or hamburgers or chicken or something like that. But it really is going to help us on our assignment for today. So what I'm going to do first is just to help us out in seeing how much we're rotating, I'm going to draw a little box. And on that little box, I'm going to start with 0 on the bottom here, 90 over here. You don't need to do this on yours, but you're going to see in a minute. This is really going to help us out a little bit. And then 270. Okay, so now I have 0 on the bottom again. What I'm gonna do is I am now going to, just using my wax paper, my patty paper, I'm going to copy exactly the points that I wrote. So first I'm gonna copy down my origin, or just the point that I'm spinning about, but I'm spinning about the origin. And then I'm gonna copy down, here's point C, and I'll put point C on my paper. Here's point A, I'll put A on my paper. Here's point T, and I'll put T on my paper, and might as well, let's finish drawing out this triangle. Now, I wanna rotate it 90 degrees, and this is where this little box comes in. To rotate 90 degrees, I'm just gonna put my pencil on that origin or wherever I'm spinning about, and I'm just gonna spin my little piece of patty paper 90 degrees, and that little box helped me because now 90 is on the bottom if I get my hand out of the way. All right. Next thing I'm gonna do, here's what my triangle looks like after I've rotated 90 degrees. Don't forget, we rotate counterclockwise always. Maybe I'll do this to help me remember that I'm going that way. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plot or figure out the coordinates of these points so that I'm gonna be able to write it down on my graph. So C prime is now gonna be at -1, -3, -1, -3. That is my C prime. A prime is at -2, -2. A prime is at -2, -2. And T prime is at -1, 0. All right, now that I've got those three coordinates, I can take my patty paper off and I can actually plot them. -1, -3. Maybe I'll do this in red again because that shows up easier, the pen. This is C prime, -2, -2. This is A prime, and then -1, 0. This is T prime. And I'll draw in my T prime. I'll draw in my now rotated triangle. And there's one thing that I want to see if you can notice. I started at -3, 1 for C, and after a 90-degree rotation, I ended up at -1, -3. So let's say I start at some point P, and I had x, y as my starting coordinates. Well, what does it look like happened when I went from P to P prime? From C to C prime, I started at -3, 1. Now I'm at -1, -3. At A to A prime, I started at -2, 2. Now I'm at -2, -2. And at T, I started at 0, 1. Now I'm at -1, 0. It looks like what happened is my X and my Y, they switched where they were. So my X and Y, they flopped. And then I put a negative on my X. And this is actually the rule, or on my new X. This is actually the rule that I use for when I want to rotate 90 degrees. So this is rotate 90 degrees rule. In case this patty paper doesn't really do it for you, here's a little thing you can remember. If I start with some point P at coordinates x, y, my new coordinates after a 90 degree rotation will be -y, x. I took the x and the y, I swapped them, and now I'm at -y, x. I'm going to put that negative sign on the y. All right, let's take a look at another one of these. So I've got -3, 1, -2, 2, 0, 1. And I want to now this time rotate 180 degrees about the origin. Well, let me take my patty paper again, put it over there with my center on the origin, the thing right on top of the triangle, what's going to be my image right on top of the triangle. And now let's rotate 180 degrees. So I will spin it 90 degrees to start. Oop, let me make sure I'm centering it and have my pencil down on the right spot. 90 degrees to start over here. And then 90 more degrees is going to make 180. And this is where I end up making sure that I'm centered on the origin. And that's again why I have that little 180 there. The light might be getting in the way. That way I can just kind of see that I'm doing the rotation correctly. All right, let's plot these points again. This time, C, and I'll use 2 primes because it's the second transformation I've done. C prime prime was now, it's at 3, -1. 3, -1. A prime prime is at 2, -2. 2, -2. And T prime prime is at 0, 0, -1. And now let's plot them again. So I've got C prime prime at 3, -1. 1, 2, 3, -1. That's C prime prime. A prime prime at 2, -2. And then T prime prime at 0, -1. And this is my new image after that rotation of 180 degrees. Now, 180 degrees is 90 more degrees than 90 was. So I should be able to look at C prime and C prime prime, and this 90 degree rule should work again. So let's see, I had -1, -3. This says I'm gonna swap my X and Y and then make the new X, or my old Y, put a negative in front of it. So I had -1, -3. I swap it, so now I've got 3, 1. And since it was -3 before, now it becomes -3, which is +3. So every 90 degrees that I switch, I can just use this rule again. Let's see if we can use that rule to now guess what it's going to be after a rotation of 270 degrees. Well, I'm going to start out at C prime prime, A prime prime, T prime prime, and I'm going to follow our rule for 90 more degrees, because 180 plus 90 more degrees gets me 270. So C triple prime, or C prime prime prime, I'm going to guess let me see, I'm going to flip those two, so I'll get the 1 in the front and the 3 now in the Y. And what was my old Y? I'm going to put a negative sign. So it should be, if it's -1, that's going to be +1. Let's see A prime prime prime. If I'm at 2, -2, I'm going to flip them and then make my new X, put a negative in front of it. So this -2 is going to go to the X. It's -2, but I'm also going to put a negative sign in front of it. So -2 becomes +2. And this just comes over here. And t triple prime or t prime prime prime, well, I'm going to have the 0, -1. I'll flip those. So I have the 1 over here and the 0. It was -1, and the new x value, right? I have x, y, I flop them, and the new x value I'll put a negative sign in front of, which maybe you can see in the video. Okay, I'll make it a little more obvious. Over here, I was at -1. I'm gonna put a new negative sign in front. If it's negative, it becomes +1. So I'm gonna guess, this is my guess based on the rule that we came up with, that these will be my coordinates. And let's test it out by using that patty paper one last time. So here I'm going to, and maybe we can zoom in for the dramatic end to this video so you can see one more example of it. Oh geez. All right, this is looking okay. I'm going to center again on the origin, put the patty paper over my triangle, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. 90 more degrees is 180. 90 more degrees is, oh wait, well, before I do that, let me plot, putting you in suspense, right? Before I do that, let me plot my guessed coordinates. How could I forget? 1, 3, so I'm gonna put it at 1, 3. This is my guess as to where C prime 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 is gonna be. C prime prime prime. A prime prime prime, I'm guessing is gonna be at 2, 2. A prime prime prime. And T prime prime prime, I'm guessing is gonna be at 1, 0. T prime prime prime. This is what I hope my new triangle looks like. Otherwise, I'll have to re-record the video. So, all right, dramatic finish. Let's bring it back over here. Not zoom out, let's zoom in for the end of this lesson. I'm going to center on my triangle, and let's rotate. Ready? 90 degrees. 90 more degrees gets me 180, right over there. 90 more degrees gets me 270. And would you look at that? Our guess based on the rule put us directly where we were supposed to be. Good job, guys. Where's my thumb? Ooh. Oh man, good job, guys. All right, so that's it for this lesson. Hopefully that helped you with some rotations, and we'll be back with more soon.